Alright, it is Monday, August the 16th, 8:59 a.m. and the watch list I don't think has changed. It's really going to be just a wash here with FLGC just to see what this thing can do. I mean, in theory, this thing could continue the uptrend over a longer period of time because it did break out that $15 level eventually on Friday, although it wasn't really perfect. I could have, in theory, have been in for the inverse head and shoulders. Was right here, shoulder, head, shoulder, I believe, and this is the second higher low. In theory, I could have been in something like this, but I don't know. I'm just scared of these Nasdaq stocks because they have like that big classic red candle that just wipes out a support level, and you can't do nothing about it but take losses. It's not really that bad, but it's nice to see it working. Again, it's just going to be a watch to see what it does. It did get as high as 18. NSAV, this stock is brutal. Has a disgusting tick. I mean, in theory, it should continue to bounce back, but I don't really know what to do with this. In theory, I'd probably maybe short on a reversal on the downside, but is there really much range for it to fall? I don't know. That stock is very disappointing. HPIL could be a morning panic bounce play. It might not be so perfect being the third red day. If it does one, it could do one. I mean, the one on Friday was super clean, so I'll be considering that. DPLS, I guess it could be a morning panic bounce play too, although I don't really like the way this one trades. LTNC could be a morning panic bounce play. It did have a panic at the end of the day, so maybe that's a good sign that perhaps today could do one. VPER is just going to be a watch. Ideally, it breaks, the previous day high for some kind of setup there. That's all I got. Let's see if we get any morning panic bounce plays. Alright, it is 9:38. This was the closest thing to a morning panic bounce play. This is a new stock. I haven't seen it before, so I wasn't too sure on how it would trade, and I was interested. I had a limit. I think it's gone now. Yeah, I had one at 28, and it did turn around here. There was signs that it was turning around on level 2, and I thought, alright, well, this thing is going to spike. Maybe it will come back to that level at 28, and then some clearer risk level. Maybe give or take 27.81 or 28, and then I could be in the trade. But it bounced back. It does have some sketchy price action with the wicks, but hey, it's nice. It's at 32 on the ask. It's been executed before. The volume isn't absolutely amazing, but it could be a lot worse. And I think maybe with these type of morning panic bounce play setups, if the stock is still at its highs and it hasn't really had a red day, like right now, I mean, this could close as a red day, but it's not really a red day. It didn't have a red day already. It's not, the back side of the move officially. It could still be the front side of the move. I think I will actually consider morning panic bounce plays, and I might consider a buy by level 2 with level 2 price action. And if it's on the downside, that's when I want to wait and see if it can trade off of a certain range and then have that as a risk level. But when it's something that just downtrends like this and it just reverses, I'll probably consider that in the future if it's still on the front side of the move, which is the case here. Hopefully maybe that can actually land me a winning trade instead of a missed trade, but again, it wasn't really perfect. I can't get upset, but this is a nice move. DPLS, let me go back and put this in order. It could be a morning panic later today. VPER, I wouldn't really trade this for a morning panic because it was only up like one day very nicely, but just one day. LTNC, nothing. It could be one later. HPIL is not going to get away from me. I clicked on it. Maybe, but nothing right now. And of course, BZWR, this one was really successful. So that's what I have in mind. Maybe again, if it's in the front side of the move, I'll consider reversals, level 2, to buy a stock. And now when it's at the back side of the move, maybe that's when I'll consider trading it off of a range. And it did play off of 28, but again, just 2 candles, you don't really know if the bottom is in yet. So this is nice. It looks like it's going to continue the uptrend here, and I hope I can learn from that and be profitable. Alright, it is 9:45 a.m. and DPLS is doing one of those, I think, tsunami type panics. I'm gonna be waiting for the 3-ticker rule. This thing could in theory be the bottom right here because it just traded so much volume, but again, I'm not gonna do that. This could be the bottom right here. Maybe if it can form a range at 12.21, I might consider it. Otherwise, you know, that in theory that's what I would do, but now I'm doing that 3-ticker rule. Now if the 3 tickers are too big and it like gets towards V1, maybe I won't consider it, but I'll keep watching it. I don't mind if I miss it either, just because, you know, this thing trades very sketchy. It's not extremely perfect. It's near the highs, not at the highs. It's just gonna be a wash. It seems like maybe the spike so far is getting sold into. Look at the volume. It could still do it. I'll be watching this for the 3-ticker rule. I'm not going to try to guess the bottom anymore. Alright, it is 9:52. Using that 3-ticker rule, I've saved myself from... I mean, obviously it's going to reverse and do the ultimate bottom without me, but, you know, in theory, I would have already escaped 2 bad trades. Not bad trades, but losing trades. One would have been right here, maybe an entry at 9:48. As close as I could to you know, 12.23, and then when it cracked this level right here, would have cut losses the same candle, and then here it drops to 12. Here was the bottom in theory at 11.8, and then right here when it starts to get around that bottom in theory as close as I could to the risk level, it just broke it right now. Now it's at 11.4. 2 paper cuts I just avoided, waiting for the bottom to form. Big volume candle here. This might be the official big volume candle. I'm gonna wait for the 3-ticker rule. Seriously, that's, even if I don't trade it well, even if I cut losses on the 3-ticker rule, I avoided 2 paper cuts, and I think that's pretty good. I'll keep watching this. Alright, it is 10:02 a.m. and I did trade DPLS with that 3-ticker setup. First, second, third green ticker. So the 4th one I got in at 11.93, which was right here. Immediately it started to work. It got as high as what, 12.15, which was super nice. And then, okay, so when am I gonna cut losses? When the thing reaches its first you know, 2 red candles, or if it breaks the bottom of the 3rd candle, which would have been right here, 11.79. So, you know, what happened was is that it immediately worked, and the candle I was in, 11.58, was my entry at 11.93, and I got as high as 12.16. Okay, that's nice. Red candle, nerve-wracking, but I've learned from my weekly recap, just going over the trades and the you know, the charts, that a lot of times it will drop right at the risk level, the bottom of the 3rd candle, which was 11.80 give or take, or 11.79. In theory, what was this exactly? It was 11.8. So okay, first red candle sucks, alright, whatever. Second red candle was right here, again touching that level. Okay, that really stinks, but I've learned, at least from that weekly recap, if we have at least 2 red candles, it doesn't matter at what point, they can be right beside each other like it was right here. There can be 5 green candles in the middle. It could be a bunch of dojis as well. I'm gonna sell after, you know, there's a second red candle formed. So right here, I was able to sell at 10:01, and that was at 12.4. So honestly, that wasn't bad, considering the fact that the highest was 12.16 and I sold at 12.4. The top of the range was this 12 level. So that was my trade there, and it was a small profit because, you know, it didn't really move that much. We had 3, you know, green candles. Nice green one here, but it just traded back and forth, really. In theory, this is the second green candle. I might even consider this one as well. I made 11 bucks, not the worst, but I did push myself and trade a larger size, so that's where I'm at the moment. It's just gonna be a watch. Maybe it's gonna be another setup here in theory. Alright, it is 10:10 a.m. In theory, this could be the inverse head and shoulders, but I actually don't want to trade this. In theory, shoulder, head, and then maybe the shoulder here, fading volume. It needs to hold 1170, which will be the risk level. It could totally do it. And I guess the ask is looking a little weird, but you know, that could be it, an inverse head and shoulder setup. But I'm just not gonna trade it, honestly. If it works, it works. That's great. But you know, stocks like DPLS, I mean, this is probably gonna do it. I'm just too scared. It is an inverse head and shoulders, in theory. Not really much of a shoulder here, but it could totally do it. I'm just gonna wait for the 3 ticker rule again. I think DPLS does actually hit VWAP once in a while, not every time, but it is known to hit VWAP. I think the one that was horrible was FER, and that one I think never touched VWAP, but maybe I got it wrong. But I'm definitely going to consider the 3 ticker setup. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. VPER, nothing I'm interested in. LTNC, nothing. HPIL, nothing. VZWR, pretty salty that I missed this morning panic bounce play, but in theory, that's what I'll do. If it's still the front side of the move, I'll consider a level 2 reversal if there's not a clear risk level. I mean, it was give or take 28, but the ones I tend to trade, at least trade around a certain range for 3 candles. It did get to 37. That was pretty nice. And then I was going for that dip towards VWAP setup. It kind of did it here. The VWAP has now moved somewhere else, but at the time it was like right at this level. It was just trading it all weird, but it did do a move 35 to 33. That would have been hard to hold through, but that was definitely a setup there, I guess. Yeah, I'll just be looking at DPLS right now. Okay, it's 10:15. We did in theory have 3 green candles, 1, 2, 3, but it wasn't uptrending. It was still trading within this range from 11.91 to 11.77. In theory, I should be in, but it's not really uptrending. Maybe I'll consider it if it breaks out the range. Maybe, but I'll probably just not trade it. If it's not three, like these 3 candles that I did this last setup with, they were uptrending, and then these 3 were just in this range, so that's not really the same thing. Maybe it actually means something in the future. I'll think and say, oh, this was a setup too, I just had to wait, or something like that. But that's why I'm not in this right here, even though we had 3 green candles in a row, because it was just trading back and forth within the range. But I mean, the volume is still fading. In theory, this thing could break out, but you know, DPLS doesn't care. The stock market doesn't care. It can just keep downtrending. So it's just gonna be a watch, and then maybe from here I'll consider 3 green candles, but only if it like breaks out of this range at 11.9. I guess 11.92. What is the high here? The high is 11.9. So maybe in theory if it breaks out, but I don't want to just trade 3 random green candles if it's like in a consolidation range, not really uptrending. Okay, it's 10:27. It looks like it failed. It cracked eventually that support level, and now it could be a lower low off of that morning panic bottom. It could be a double bottom too, honestly. It could be either one, but I'm not going to trade any of this. It's going to be the 3 ticker rule again. Although in theory, if you know, I mean, I could try a trade and risk maybe the wick here at 141, but then it might just get to 11.36. So it's gonna be the 3 ticker, the green candle rule again. 1, 2, 3. This one might be a second one. I might consider it, but you know, it's not stuck in a range like it was previously. But if it looks too sketchy, I'm not gonna trade it either. It's not okay. 1, 2, 3 green candles. Let's get in immediately. Doesn't matter how the candles look. No, it does matter. Especially if it's gonna trade with a range like that. I might skip this one and make this the first green candle. That could be something I could try doing, but I'll just keep watching this. Alright, it is 10:46. We technically had a 3 candle setup, a new one, but it had like a sketchy doji candle. Like in theory, this one was 1, 2, 3, so you risk, you know, 11.4 cracking, and you get in at 11.49. It did get as high as 11.60. but I don't know how they work when it comes to a doji. You could have said maybe in theory this one was maybe one because it was still an up. No, it was a downtrend. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. You risk 11.4. It did drop to the risk level like it does a lot of times. But I don't know if it's an exact science. It is uptrending. I mean, 1, 2, 3. You risk 11.4. But it was a doji looking candle. It wasn't like a clean green candle like it was back here. If maybe I have to consider that, or maybe if I have to really open my risk and just say 3 uptrending candles regardless of whether they're green, red, or dojis, maybe that's something I'll have to continue to study and learn from this pattern. But in theory, I'm in a small position because it wasn't really the same. Risking 11.4 with an entry at 11.5. It's not looking that nice, but it could in theory hit VWAP at some point, and that would make it pretty profitable. But yeah, that's something I'll have to take into consideration. Should I consider the 3 ticker rule if the middle one is an uptrending candle but it's a doji candle, or maybe the last one is a doji candle? I don't know. If the second or last one's a doji candle, should I take it or not? Should I trade smaller? I guess that's part of day trading, so I don't really know right now. It's just in theory, a paper, a mental trade where I just cut at 11.4 for cracks. It's trying to go for 11.6 again. I'll make an update to see what this does, but that will be something interesting to learn. Alright, it is 11:58. I think at this point, when it's later in the day, it did do the inverse head and shoulders eventually. Shoulder, head, shoulder. I thought maybe it was going to be here, not a perfect one. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Tiny bounce. It didn't do much. It fell lower. It made a lower low, which was nice. It dropped here, came back to this level. Not close, but I mean 10.8. And then maybe you're in at 10.89 trying to get the bottom. You risk 10.8. That could have worked, but I'm not going to play games with these type of tsunami type stocks that trade all ugly. So just one trade. I could have even traded on like a $2,000 position, but I only traded an $1,200 position. Could have traded a $2,400 position with 20,000 shares. Yeah, it would have been very easy, I think, to have been executed. And I just made 11 bucks. Not a large percent gain at all. Actually, kind of bad, but it didn't work in that sense. And maybe here I might consider, a doji candle. If if it's uptrending 1, 2, 3, you risk 11.4. When it dropped right at the risk level, that's when I thought maybe this setup is going to actually work, because it did drop towards that risk level. And maybe when I do the 3 ticker thing, 1, 2, 3, right, and I risk 11.4, maybe I don't even get in at the next candle at 11.5. Maybe I just put a buy order, a limit buy, at 11.4 at the bid, and maybe I get executed there, and then I'll be in the setup at a better price. That could be something I can try too. It did ultimately break past it, 12.09 to 12.5, so nothing amazing. VPER, nothing. DPLS, LTNC, nothing. HPIL, nothing. BZWR, nothing. Literally nothing now in the middle of the day. So I'm just going to work on other things. I'll make an update later, but I might not trade anything else today. I don't see anything nice. It's midday, so it's probably going to be maybe a few hours before I even consider a trade, unless something just looks amazing. Alright, it is 11:05 p.m. and I'm here to call it off because the market closed a long time ago, but I just want to go over the day. DPLS was one of those tsunami type panic stocks today. I tried the 3 ticker rule and I went a larger size because it just seems like a setup that really works. I made just pretty much puny percent gain, $11, much larger position size than I normally trade, but it has shown to really work. I could have traded again a $2,500 position or a $2,400 position, just 20,000 shares. It would have been executed just as easily, I believe. And that was a 3-ticker rule with, I think it was this setup right here. Yep, 1, 2, 3 green candles. And then I went in the next candle. It did drop at the risk level, which was 11.8. I got in at 11.93. So again, that could be something I can try. Or I put a bid order at the bottom of the third green candle in hopes that it comes back to it, and I get executed like that, and then I will get in at a better price. But I think for now I'll probably just hit the ask. You know, I don't want to be in that situation where it drops to my risk level and then I just don't get executed. That would suck. So that's what I'm going to think about doing. And right here was kind of iffy because in theory it was 3 uptrending candles, but it wasn't clean. It had a doji candle, 1, 2, 3. It did drop to that level. Could have been in, I guess in theory, 11.4 to 11.5 maybe. And it did break past VWAP to 12.07. It made a nice follow up at 12.5 and another follow up at 12.9, almost 13. I guess it did. Did it touch 13? It almost did. It got to 12.89. So yeah, that was a trade there. Viper was nothing I wanted. I'm not going to trade a morning panic bounce play on the stock that was only up 1 day. Even though it was up a nice amount, it's not enough for me to be interested. It would have to have been like at least a 200% gain. Ideally 300 plus. BZWR, salty. I missed out on this morning panic bounce play because I wanted to trade a little range that I could risk off of that was at least more than 2 candles long. But I've learned now, if this thing is still in the front side of the move, which it no longer is because it did have this red day, especially if tomorrow is a follow-up red day, I might trade this tomorrow for a morning panic bounce play if it gives an opportunity and I get executed. And you know, all those things go into play. Otherwise, great lesson learned there. Yeah, pretty nice bounce. I mean, this one 37, 27. That is massive. That is massive percent gain. That is what is that? 27 to 37. So that's 10. Like, I don't know, a 40% move. It was nice. LTNC, nothing. If it can do a clean morning panic bounce play tomorrow, that might be nice. It did have like a sketchy panic Friday at the end of the day. If it does one in the morning, I'll consider it. Oh, that's nice. HPIL actually broke this level at the end of the day. That's really nice. This thing can keep uptrending. It might not be a morning panic bounce play anytime soon, but it's gonna, you know, be something that can be possible in the future, and I will look forward to trading that. That's all I got. Just one trade. I don't know how to make these things more clear. Literally, somebody thought like the amount I made on the trade was a price target for a stock. That is absolutely crazy. It was NSAV. I might try to find a way to make my thumbnails more clear, but no way I would put a $7.95 price target on this stock. It looks like today it did a big volume panic here, but there's nothing here I would have traded other than potentially the morning spike, because it's down so much. In theory, it should try a little harder to catch back up, and that was from 30 to 37. Yeah, so that's all I got. A good trading day. I'll keep trying the 3-ticker rule on any, you know, setups that qualify in the future. BZWR, potential morning panic bounce play tomorrow, as well as LTNC. If it's clean, I'll consider it. DPLS, I probably won't want to trade it anymore because it's not really at its highs or anything like that. It's mid-range, so it's not really ideal. HPIL could be a morning panic bounce play. Hopefully not tomorrow, but in the next few days, if this thing keeps uptrending, this could be something really nice. That's all I got.